Sup guys? So we have just gotten back from the canteen number 57.
In the shopping centre, beautiful old building.
Yes, I think it's called the Gum Centre.
I think it roughly translates to gum.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell because they have the Russian alphabet on it, which isn't exactly the easiest thing to read.
For us. I'm sure if you're Russian, you've grown up with it. Ours is a lot harder and the Russian alphabet's easier.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really, really good. The line was very long, but it was very quick to get through it. It maybe took us 15 or so minutes to get through the entire line and pay.
Yeah, that's including getting our food, so maybe like 10 minutes before we hit the food section. It looked like a really long queue, but you fly through it, it doesn't really take that long. So it's worth waiting for, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's a really nice building. They seem to have two menus, so between 10 and 12 they do their breakfast menu, and then between 12 and I think it's 8 p.m, it might be 9 p.m, they do their Soviet era help yourself kind of buffet. And you'll see from the footage that they literally serve from one side and you just pull up a lid, pull out the thing that you want, or you kind of point at stuff. They have it, the English and the Russian and everything, so you know what you're ordering. So it's not a case of what the hell is that?
Well, I mean, you know the name of what you're ordering. Yeah. It doesn't always give description. So you'll see I had like a milky looking drink that we weren't sure what it was. Turned out to be basically just yogurt. Like unsweetened, unflavoured, just yogurt in a glass.
Yes, I think that was called friska.
Something like that.
Something along those lines.
But it does say it all in like English as well. And so like one of the dishes I had, which was like a sausage salad, and it does like tell you what all that is. And even though not all the people behind the counter spoke English, like, you know, you could just be like, one of them, that, and they're like, okay, as long as you're not a dick about it, then.
Yeah, there was one Russian dude who was serving out the food, and I was like, can I have one of those please? And he was like, one of these? I was like, yeah, dumplings. He just, ha ha ha, and started serving it out. So he was quite friendly.
Yeah. I think they get a lot of tourists there. Like the people in front of us were like, I think Chinese people were behind us. I'm pretty sure were French. Like it's a lot of tourists there, but also quite a lot of Russian people. Tables sat next to us were speaking in Russian the whole time. Yeah, so. Definitely
a lot of Russians there. I'd say it was a good 50-50 mix between tourists and Russians, so that was quite reassuring. The food itself, their savouries were actually really, really good. We had some dumplings yesterday. They were a little bit better than the dumplings that I had today, but definitely not something to sniff at.
That's true. They weren't the best like Russian style dumplings I've ever had, and they definitely weren't as good as the other place that I'm sure will be in one of our other videos, a couple of quick shots, and which was they were really delicious there. But they were good. They were vegetarian friendly. They were like cheese and mushroom, which is good, and they were pretty tasty. They were canteen food. And then I had like some meatballs and like a big meat thing.
Lump.
It didn't really say what it was, it was just meat. It was like a meat and mushroom, and I was like, oh, I like meat, I like mushroom. And those were really good. They were really hearty, like the meatballs had rice, bits of rice in them. They were really filling. Yeah.
It's quite funny, in a lot of the menus you see just meat. You're like, okay, because it's really weird because they do call things pork and they do call things veal and they do call things beef and all the different names, but there do seem to be a lot of items that are just meat.
I think it's probably when they have a blend. It's probably like it's like beef and pork or something, so it's like meat.
But yeah, definitely for the price that we paid for it and the amount that we actually got, definitely not something to sniff at. I thought for the price of it was actually really, really good. We were kind of expecting something, you know, very canteeny, where you get that and you go, I'm sure this will give me some sort of sustenance, but it doesn't taste very good. This was very tasty, and considering it is literally a 30-second walk from Red Square, definitely worth the price. Like, you're getting away with a bit of a bargain.
And it's really good value. Like, it's not cheap. We've seen and been to cheaper places around Moscow, but it's very good value. It's not anywhere near as overpriced, and it's in this really beautiful ancient shopping centre, which is stunning and worth a visit on its own. It's got all like normal like Chanel and like normal shopping things that you'd expect in a high-end shopping mall. But then it also has this really cute little Soviet canteen at the top that's like really reasonably priced. So it's a bit.
Yeah, so I ended up having a big plate of dumplings. I had a big plate of pasta with mushroom sauce, and I had a big pork cutlet that was fried on it. I got some cheese wrapped aubergine that had garlic in it, a dessert, a big fat pickle, and a latte. And you got?
I got a sausage salad. I also got an individual sausage, all about the sausage. I then got my generic meat with mushroom. and I got a portion of meatballs and a portion of steamed veg, and I got a honey cake and a cherry pastry thing. Oh, and the milk yogurt drink.
Yeah.
And the whole thing came to what, about
1,750 rubles, which at today's exchange rate worked out to £23. So for the amount of food that we got, it was really, really good price.
We got a load of food. We got a drink each, we got a starter each, we got 2 mains each, and we got like, I got 2 puddings and you got a pudding.
Yeah.
So we got a ton of food.
Very, very good price.
And literally minutes walk from Red Square,
Yeah.
so it's right next to all of the really central attractions.
So if you guys are coming to Moscow, you'll go around and you'll see that a lot of the places are extremely expensive. Even by London standards, they're extremely expensive. But then you walk into this place and it's just quite nice, and it's also quite relaxed. They had no problems with us filming. We literally just walked in, got in the line, got our food, paid and sat down, and that was it. No problems. The food, as we said, was pretty good. It wasn't the best that we've ever had, but it was pretty good.
There was
definitely worth the price.
One exception for that though was we thought that other than the cherry pastry, which was delicious. Oh, I also got a cabbage and egg bun. Just remembered, more food. Apart from the little cherry pastry that was really good. The honey cake that I got and the chocolate pudding that Michael got, they were both quite disappointing. We've been super impressed with Russian desserts, I have especially, with Russian desserts and Russian pastries. I've been going to the supermarket like every day and just buying a basket full of them because they're so good. And I've had like different ones every day and they've all been delicious and incredible. These, I would say, were not that good. And they were fine. Like, we didn't finish them because we were really full, but they were fine.
Yeah, my kind of impression is that the Russian palate is a lot sweeter than what we're used to in Western Europe. So all the food seems to have a slight sweetness to it. And then the desserts that are made with fruit seem to be quite tart, which is nice and which is what we're used to. But they're sweet desserts, they seem to just stick a load of sugar into it, and like the honey cake, it tasted like they had just pumped a load of honey into it, which didn't quite suit our palate as much. But if you have a really sweet tooth, you'll probably really, really enjoy it. But for us, it was just a bit too much. A bit like when you go to the States and you try their candy, which just kind of tastes like sugar-coated, sugar-flavoured sugar.
To us.
To us, this is kind of what their desserts tasted like. But the fruit-based things were very good because they were nice and tart.
But also I think I would say it's definitely worth going, but if we were to go again, I would skip the desserts there, because on the bottom floor right next to this beautiful fountain with watermelons for no reason that we can fathom, that you might have seen in our Moscow Day 1 video, they have like 2 or 3 little ice cream stalls that do delicious ice cream. It's so cheap, like 50 rubles for like a cone. So it's super cheap and it's delicious ice cream. So if I were going again, I would skip the desserts upstairs and go downstairs for an ice cream after.
Definitely, and they're really interesting because they come pre-made as well. So they literally just pull the cone with a scoop out and give it to you. So definitely that's our top tip for going to number 57.
Skip pudding, but the food is good. Definitely
get yourselves down there when you come to Moscow. Definitely worth a visit. And don't be put off by the line. The line is massive, but it moves really quickly. And there's always a table. You don't have to send one of your party off to find a table. We were like, oh, should one of us go? We were like, oh, we'll risk it. There was tables everywhere, like so many tables, so it's fine. So yeah, guys, that's our kind of #1 restaurant recommendation in Moscow, especially if you're in the Red Square area. Check it out and let us know what you thought if you do get a chance to go. Just give it a shout down or tweet out to us, alright? Okay, until next time, guys. Bye.